It may seem far-fetched, but in reality, this is something that's already started, just on a much smaller scale. And we're talking about how China can destroy the US dollar, and they are going to use gold to do it. Let's explore! Now, you may say that's a far-fetched idea, and I think far-fetched is only a temporal measurement, because if things go the way they are going now, this is something that we should be paying attention to. And this is one reason why I'm bringing this story up to you from Jan Nieuwenhuis. There's some great research that has been done on this, which is quite spectacular. And wait till you hear how this is being played out and see if it reminds you of something that has already been done in history. What do we know about history? It may not repeat, but oftentimes it rhymes. Hey, that rhymes. So there is a Chinese gold market that we know that's out there, and we know about the Shanghai International Gold Exchange, and that exchange facilitates offshore gold trading in renminbi and can play a crucial role in de-dollarization, as it allows countries to use a renminbi as a trade currency that can be converted into gold without affecting China's balance of payments. Does that sound familiar? Bretton Woods 1944, perhaps? Maybe something not exactly like that, but fairly close. De-dollarization can be accompanied by using yuan to settle international trade and store surpluses in gold through the Shanghai International Gold Exchange. In other words, this is not really a gold-backed currency, but it is a currency for trade that has the backing of gold. So in the Chinese gold market, two circuits can be distinguished. Simplified, there is gold trading in the domestic market and in the free trade zones. The domestic market is separated from these free trade zones and the rest of the world by the Chinese Central Bank, otherwise known as the People's Bank of China, that controls import into and export from this domestic market. Gold import and export between free trade zones and the rest of the world is not regulated by the People's Bank of China. The Shanghai Gold Exchange is located in the Shanghai Free Trade Zone to spur international gold trading in renminbi. So that's how they're doing it. That's how they're going to make this thing happen and trade happen round and round the world. The Chinese domestic gold market is sort of a separate entity in a sense. So the Chinese domestic gold market with the Shanghai Gold Exchange at its core, and that happened before 2002. The People's Bank of China was a primary dealer in the Chinese gold market. We know there are 4 mints that produce gold bullion coins, by the way, and this is one of those coins produced. I just recently got this from layaway from a local coin shop. Been kind of scaling back a little bit of gold purchases lately, so this may be the last piece of new gold that I get for a while, for reasons which I may explain later. But nonetheless, this was slowly liberalized and took over price setting and gold allocation from the central bank, from the Shanghai Gold Exchange, not the international exchange, but the domestic one. By 2007, liberalization was completed, as by then most wholesale supply and demand flowed through the domestic silver Shanghai Gold Exchange. Laws and tax incentives funnel most supply, mine outputs, inputs, and recycled gold towards the Shanghai Gold Exchange, which for liquidity reasons automatically attracts more demand. The exchange has its own chain of integrity, meaning only certified refineries can load in gold bars into the vaults. To guarantee that all metal in the exchange vaulting system is in the right quality, bars withdrawn from the vaults are not allowed to re-enter before having been remelted by a certified refiner. Every month, the SGE publishes the tonnage of gold withdrawn from its vaults, which can be interpreted as wholesale demand. So gold bullion will no longer be accepted in any of the certified vaults once it has been withdrawn by a member and a customer. Import and export from the domestic market is referred to as general trade, and in the case of gold, it's controlled by the People's Bank of China. 20 or so enterprises are authorized to import and export standard gold. I think this is part of what led to this whole debacle with the Perth Mint, which you can see some Chinese-themed Perth Mint coins there, mostly dragon theme there. But of course, Perth Mint was not at fault. It was kind of a misunderstanding, but they do have pretty stringent standards there. The government has a policy of storing gold among the people to strengthen Chinese economic security, and that's pretty smart for the Chinese to do that. Turkey does the same thing. We talked about that in a recent video too. Imports are usually not restricted as opposed to exports, which are more or less prohibited. Panda coins, for example, will be allowed to be exported from the domestic market, but that's about it. This is another Panda gold coin I got earlier this year. And by the way, you'll notice these are backdated pieces. This is from 1990. I got that. I don't buy new Chinese gold. None of that stuff that's just in grams. There's also another reason why I don't buy Chinese gold, modern Chinese gold, or current dated Chinese gold, but that's a subject for another video. Since 2004, jewelry fabricators and alike located in mainland China can sell their products abroad through processing trade. For processing trade, no license is required from the central bank. This framework enterprise can freely import gold from the free trade zones. A fabricator can import raw materials into the free trade zone, manufacture products, and export the finished goods. Any entity wanting to import gold from a free trade zone into the domestic market needs approval by the Central Bank of China. Now, let's go to the International Gold Exchange. To slowly open up China's financial markets, enhance the connection between the international gold market and the Chinese domestic market, and push renminbi internationalization, the Shanghai Gold Exchange, the international version, was launched in 2014 in the Shanghai Free Trade Zone area. This Shanghai Gold Exchange is often referred to as the main board, and the SGEI as the international board. The SGEI is fully owned by the Shanghai Gold Exchange, and both foreign and Chinese residents can trade at the main board as well as the international board gold contracts on the exchange, though foreigners can only load in and load out gold from the MB vaults in the domestic market. The exception is that the eligible to import gold under the general trade may sell gold exchange and IB vaults into the domestic market. Foreigners and Chinese residents can thus add liquidity to MB and IB contracts, but they can only physically move metal on their own side of the fence. As a result, neither will trade gold on other side for reasons other than making markets, arbitrage, and speculation. Long-term investors are not likely to buy metal in the Shanghai Free Trade Zone as they can't withdraw the metal. Foreigners wanting to withdraw and repatriate will trade IB contracts. So that is how that works. Now let's look about the China's balance of payments and the cross-border trade statistics and the withdrawals. Anything related to this international exchange, you need to drill a little bit deeper into international trade, which is often misunderstood as the country's current account, part of its balance of payments. It's not a reflection of goods and services crossing its border. Current accounts register the value of goods and services exchanged between domestic and foreign residents, wherever these residents are located. Cross-border trade statistics, on the other hand, record the value of goods physically moved across borders, irrespective of the buyer and seller's nationalities. Should a European bullion bank ship gold from London to an SGEI vault in the free trade zone, this will show up in global IMTS, but does not affect China's. When this batch was bought by an Indian investor, withdrawn from the SGEI vault, and exported to a designation of the owner's discretion, the trade has circumvented China's current account through it's settled with the yuan. So the IMTS data is irrelevant if goods are shipped into the free trade zone or the domestic market. As long as it crosses an international border, and import and export are recognized. And that is so we could that's the thing, and that's the foundation for providing that security and faith in the Chinese system, how stringent they are. And so that is going to allow people to be or countries and nations to feel more comfortable about trading in yuan that is backed up by this gold. through this convoluted but yet stringent policies that they have domestically and internationally. So gold trading in renminbi on the SGEI can be compared to offshore gold trading in the London bullion market with U.S. dollars. As such, the SGEI is part of China's ambitions to internationalize the renminbi to the detriment of the dollar. And that's the overall focus here, folks. That's kind of where this is heading. This is setting it up using gold in that regard to help eventually, if it goes on at the pace it is mentioned here, at this way, we could see it further weaken the dollar. And that de-dollarization will continue until it's no longer the top world's reserve currency. If it's not the top world's reserve currency, either there must be massive austerity in the United States to strengthen the dollar, not just compared to other currencies, but domestically. In other words, stop inflation and maybe even get into a sense where we're doing a lot more independent production and manufacturing and become the manufacturing kings again here in the United States, drawing back to what we've done in the 50s and just after the post-war period. Likely that's not going to happen anytime soon. That's going to take quite a long time unless you get policies changed dramatically before this happens. Because once this is attempted after the dollar weakens and it's not the top reserve currency, we're on the path of dollar destruction, literal dollar destruction. This is not going to happen overnight, but essentially this is a form of the Bretton Woods Agreement, in a sense, and with these other nations around the world, and that's what it's amounting to here. The People's Bank of China has these swap lines to promote the international use of the renminbi. As Zoltan Pozar noted in Gold We Trust report, China has a swap line with everybody, with which he meant 32 counterparties. So it's establishing its network now. And this is something that's been confirmed from the general manager of the Shanghai International Gold Exchange from 2016. Yes, many years ago. The International Board uses renminbi for pricing and settlement, which effectively connects the onshore and offshore renminbi market. It also provides a new channel for the return of funds, which is useful exploration for expanding the cross-border flow of renminbi and steady promoting the internationalization of renminbi. So with that being said, folks, I have been talking about some sort of counterpart to the dollar and maybe a ganging up to some of these world economic forums or, in the IMF and these meetings where they've been talking about doing this for years. I've been talking about this since about 2018 on this channel. Now we're seeing real evidence of an even bolder move. They smell blood in the water, and they are making moves, especially with Russia now becoming more and more dependent on China after the invasion of Ukraine and the sanctions. This is likely to pick up pace a bit. Still a long ways off before actually implementation, but it's something to behold here for sure. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below about this revelation and how China could literally destroy the dollar using gold. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.